Welcome back everyone to another Riftlab video. Today we have the quarterfinals of the winner box in Telford in the UK, where we have Master Yi Bugcat playing Ojama Boy on Vex. And joining me is the one and only Veli.
The one and only Jacob. You are the one and only. Thank you. I'm really excited for this matchup right now between Bugcat and... Okay, once upon a time I voted for Obama, so I really am kind of rooting for Ojama Boy
Obama
and
Boy.
Vex. Yeah, Obama Boy. Vex has been such a nuisance when it comes to set 3, being able to stop all types of acceleration, and already he kicks off the game with an overzealous fan.
Yeah, the overzealous fan can be pretty annoying. A lot of the cards like from Vex are just annoying in general. So the champion unit where everything comes in stunned, so that gets rid of any sort of acceleration that might happen. It's a very good counterplay against a Rengar champion unit as well, because we know the Master Yi players, they usually play Rengar, right? So that is a massive, massive counter having that Vex on the board. So that basically just takes it out of the equation. And then here we see the overzealous fan going into Amateur Recital, which is the player's chosen battlefield, and they decide to go ahead and conquer it.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I'm really excited for this matchup, the battlefield selection between both players right now, that's really going to be the main game. On Amateur Recital, if you're able to get that hold and stop Lonely Poro from getting there, if you're able to hold there, you can just send a unit back to base and just control your base and possibly the other battlefield. Now, Valmall's Lair, if you happen to step foot in there as well, you're stuck. You're forced to fight. So now we're waiting to see what Bugcat has to offer. Taking a look at his hand right now, a bit of a shuffle. He is not going to go in to fight overzealous fan. He's going to secure his first point as well.
Yeah, just walks into Valmall's Lair. It is pretty nice of a battlefield, because if you do not have any ganking in your deck, then you can't really escape it. You can't really be charmed out of it or use any sort of abilities, because movement back to base is not possible in it. And then we see the turn passing over. 2 points over to Ojama Boy on the Vex player. He does trigger the ability on Amateur Recital to go back to the base, and then having a lot of runes open and available. And being in a green deck, you have things like Discipline, so you can walk in and potentially get the might that you need. And over on Bugcat's side, he only has 1 rune open, and we did see an On Guard in his hand, so that defense could be a total of 6 might, but Ojama Boy is just simply walking back in.
Yeah, I believe Ojama Boy's best bet is to go ahead and get control of Amateur Recital currently, especially utilizing Vex Apathetic. If he's able to get this hold and stop Yi from taking the battlefield as well against Overzealous Fan and clearing that out, that's going to be a big plus right now. Now, the thing with, I call him OG Yi, the Wuju Bladesman.
Yeah.
If you're able to control the battlefield with just 1 unit, that's +2. Now, as a former Rumble main, +1 was a lot, but +2 on the likes of a Lonely Poro, that's 4 might. That's major. Vex is taking the battlefield, and Bugcat, he's going to have some big decisions to make right here.
Yeah, and then also this Master Yi chosen champion, Master Yi Tempered, he does have the ability Hunt too, so when you hold or conquer, you gain 2 XP. And depending on how much XP he has, he gains Deflect and Ganking. So when I mentioned Valmall's Lair being Bugcat's, chosen battlefield, this is very nice for that chosen champion, as long as that chosen champion is alive. So potentially using like a Zhonya's or something to keep it alive later on, or just the buff cards that he has inside of his hand. But we see him walking in here against the Vex Apathetic. And the overzealous fan. Is Ojama Boy going to decide to send it back potentially, do you think?
He has to send it back. By the way, if you guys aren't paying attention, when it comes to Riftbound, it's not just playing your cards. Take a look at the mind game as well. When Ojama Boy doesn't have an active turn, he lays his cards down so smooth, as you see right there. Yeah. And it basically just puts so much pressure on the opponent. But yeah, I would say send Yi back. You don't want him to get any type of momentum. The Discipline is going to pop. There's going to be a free draw plus 2 more might. And since he's not sending Yi back, that's a possible kill on Vex. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and get stunned. But Defy is out. Great counter. Yeah. And another Defy.
Yeah, Existential Dread into Defy, into another On Guard. So what Bugcat is trying to do here right now is just ensure that the Master Yi will survive. So Vex being a total of 6 might, and also the Master Yi being stunned, that means they were potentially going to trade. Well, not trade. The Master Yi would die. So another on guard was necessary in order for that Master Yi to go up to 8 might to be able to bounce back and not get hurt and just stay alive, because falling behind in tempo so much, literally in like turn 3, would be diabolical.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say Bud Cat, in a way, he kind of got a win. One of the main things about Riftbound that really sets players apart is exhausting the
Hmm.
opponent's use of using great cards. With 2 Defies out of the way, along with an existential dread, I take that. And Yi lives at the end of the day. Bud Cat, on the other hand, he was able to get 2 draws, which is major. But Blitzcrank is in the game,
Yeah.
and I see Yi coming to the battlefield, and he's going to be dealt with quickly.
Yeah, and you can see Bugcat's face as well. He's kind of smiling, like laughing a little bit about it, because he's like, "Who the hell plays Blitzcrank?" And we do see Blitzcrank in a few Vex decks, which is nice. But the answer comes in with a punch first, which is not defiable, even if Ojama Boy had a defy in his hand. So this comes out as a positive. So getting rid of the Vex, getting rid of the Blitzcrank, that was quite a strong counterplay. So hidden card going down onto the battlefield, and then not really much else you can do that turn. You only have 1 energy open, and then the Overzealous Fan is probably for the taking next turn.
Yeah, and when it comes to mid-range Yi, this guy gets absolutely dangerous. The White Flame Protector comes out, and it's just going to be game over. So Ojama Boy, especially with this Vex deck, he's going to have to be able to get a good hold. And right now, I'm not sure what they're discussing, but I did see another back off in hand to keep Overzealous Fan on that battlefield just a bit longer. So with the face down card, we're not sure what it is. Ojama Boy is trying to sit comfortably right now, up 1.
Yeah, so now points going 3-3, so we're even. Going on to Bugcat's turn, counter being turned. People always have an issue turning that counter, but it's actually really easy. So
I struggle with that, man.
and then okay, so let's see what is in the hand of Bugcat. I know you said there was a White Flame Protector there, but we don't have enough runes to play it right now. And there's not really anything on the board.
Does he
that
have
you
a
might
white
wanna...
flame?
Yes, he does have a White Flame in hand, but there's not really an opportunity to play it at the moment, because you're going to give +8 to something. You also don't have enough runes to do it. That might be a bit of a useless play. But we do see the Nami coming in to his battlefield into Valmor's Lair. And for anybody who doesn't know what Nami does, it's a really cool card. You may pay 1 green energy as an additional cost to play me, and then when you play me, if you paid the cost, stun an enemy unit. And then when I hold, the next time you play a unit this turn, ready it and buff it. So just some extra might coming in to any units he might play in the future, which is really nice. And because both decks are hold decks, that is something he might want to do.
I'm not gonna lie, if I'm Ojama Boy, I'm not feeling comfortable right now. We see Bugcat's game plan. He's stacking Valmor's Lair right now. They're sitting comfortable, especially with Nami in the mix now. That's gonna be a free buff, possibly for Poro in base, a stalwart. Now, with White Flame Protector in hand, he's building up for an attack to retake the other battlefield in order to go up just 1 might. But now, Ojama Boy is going to be on the offensive. The edge is on Overzealous Fan. The discipline comes out as well. A 2 might and a draw, and he goes in to clear it out quickly. Great play.
Yeah, and it's like with the green decks, all you have to do is just pay 2 energy and you get that extra might. It was very, very unlucky that Bugcat didn't really have any answers in his hand available or anything that he might have wanted to use. He had 3 energy open, so usually your opponent doesn't want to attack somebody that has that kind of rune economy, especially in the green and orange colors. It could be another punch first. It could be an on guard. It could be a discipline. But Ojama maybe thought he's used them already this game, so there's a very low chance he might have an answer. So I might as well, take the risk and go in. And that risk did pay off. So now we saw both battlefields scoring a point for Ojama. So 2-point lead, and it's just a lonely Poro there. And that hold is going to be so difficult to break. And especially that the Vex legend ability is being utilized every single turn for that extra card draw. It's just... This game is looking rough for the Master Yi play, I think.
You know what? A little bit of might, but a lot of effect on the side of Ojama Boy right now. Take a look at that. Mutated Mauser and Overzealous Fan with a face-down card. That's 2 lines of defense that you could pop off at any given moment. Now, Ojama, we're not used to seeing Vex be aggressive, but him being able to take over Valmor's Lair after conquering and owning Amateur Recital, that's big. So now we're seeing Vex being a little versatile. This is where Bugcat really has to make a play fast. Now being down 4-5, he's going to have to not just own this battlefield, but take the other. White Flame Protector in hand, but the question is, are you going to be able to get enough units out on the board in time in order to overtake?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very rough. Passing over the turn again. We do
Very.
know there is a Vilemore in Bugcat's hand, which could potentially be used as a reaction ambush to jump in to defend. But there's so many cards that Ojama Boy and Vex has in general that just make it near impossible to do anything with. You can use the back off to stun. It's crazy. Like, I don't think that the tempo has like been lost for Bugcat so much that I think this game is basically just GG, and we're going to have to go to the second game to actually see what's going to happen, because I don't see a real way of winning this. Like you said, there's the overzealous fan, there's too many things to bounce things back to base. There's just no way.
Mutated Mauser has a tank?
Yeah.
Right, it's insane.
Yeah.
Jacob, I got to ask you, man, you play against a lot of VE because of our boy Pentastag out there in the UK.
Yes.
Now, even though Bugcat isn't having the best of times at the moment, this deck gets very scary when it comes to end game, man.
So, because of that punch first, Bugcat had to, well, the Blitzcrank and the punch first, Bugcat had to de-ramp himself so much. He would have been 2 runes ahead, potentially.
Yeah.
So he could have already played that White Flame, he could have already played that Vilemore, but that didn't happen because that punch first was used, which wasn't, in his favor. But it does get very strong. And here we see a charm, moving the Poro back to the base, and then a reaction ambush, as we mentioned before, Vilemore to allow that battlefield to be held. So Ojama Boy can't just walk in and get a point for 3.
Valmall is out of his lair, but is that enough? You got your strongest unit on the board, but he's on the other battlefield. We're still going to have to overtake Mutated Mauser and Overzealous Fan, and taking a look at Bugcat's face right now, it doesn't look like he has the answers just yet. Ojama on the other end, charm, Overzealous being able to stay alive since turn 1. Everything is working out in his favor. And by the way, getting 2 defies early game is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that is insane, because 2 defies early, like you said, you can't really force yourself not to play certain cards because you might just fall too far behind, and you just sometimes have to hope that your opponent doesn't have the defy. But in this case, Ojama did hit the cards he need, and the charms as well are crazy. That Vilemore is near impossible to get over right now with what Ojama has in his base, but he can just simply charm it back and just walk in and score, which is nuts.
Hey, you said it. You said it.
The charm
and then he gets the other one. Yep.
Wow.
Now the battlefield is conquered, and this is a very tough task right here.
Yeah, they're like Valmore's less impossible to get rid of. Literally impossible. Shadow, really cool card. It allows you to stun an enemy unit as action speed. So 1 energy and 1 recycle. Stun an enemy unit attacking here. You've got Overzealous Fan who can bounce you back to the base. You have a hidden card, which I'm pretty sure is back off, which also stuns a unit, moves it back to the base. There's like 3 layers of cards you have to go through. So Bugcat would have to walk in, then have a not so fast, then have a defy for the face down card, and also another not so fast for Shadow. So that's 3 cards he would have to play, and that's his entire turn. And then that's only 1 battlefield gone. But then he has to conquer the other one, because we're threatening lethal here, because Ojama Boy is on 7 points. So I think it's just a scoop and go next.
You know when you start doing math and put your hand on your chin like that, you know the game is done. But Ojama Boy, he puts his cards down once again, and he patiently waits. His Bugcat, he's trying to do the math. He's trying to figure it out, Jacob. And Stour Poro, Defy, and White Flame Protector, he does not have the answers at all.
He has 8 might, enough to play the White Flame Protector. Give someone +8, but what's that going to do?
He's going to get stunned.
Yeah, you're just going to get stunned.
Yeah.
He's going to go back to base. It's like whatever at that point. So it's he's just deliberating. What can you do? What is the play? But honestly as well, if you're playing in person, right, that face down card could not be a backup. It could be something else. So it could be potential bait. Sometimes you only have 1 line you can do, and your opponent might just have the answers. So us
Do
watching
you
and being able
even
to
need
see
it?
yeah, us kind of like watching and being able to like see what's happening from both POVs, seeing what's like in hand of both players, we like see things from a different point of view, right? But if you're actually there on the
Yeah.
table playing, you don't see things that way. You always want to play acting like you still have a chance to win this, because as we've seen before in this tournament, in the last video for example, your opponent could make a mistake and forget something, and then it's fine.
Oh.
So here we see Overzealous Fan being
Oh.
triggered, and we forgot this. Vilemore's Lair. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
he
Wait.
can't go back to base.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so the Overzealous Fan doesn't work, cannot bounce it. However, Shadow can stun the Vilemore, and because no damage is done, the unit is recalled, and then
He might have
recalling
a
is not
chance.
a move, so it goes back to the base. So Overzealous Fan cannot be triggered. So now, if the White Flame Protector comes out on the Poro, he can walk in and potentially clear the whole battlefield. But then the second battlefield is GG. Like, he cannot conquer both, so it is what it is. And yeah, the
Yeah.
backoff was there, and that's going to be a scoop, and that's going to be game 1 victory for Ojama Boy.
Jacob, you called it. The Defy was in hand, but that first punch ruined his tempo. It damaged his rune economy, and he just needed that one more. If he did have that one rune, he would have been able to use Defy, and he would have been able to clear that battlefield, but it just was not enough. But take a look at Ojama Boy's deck right now. Vex has been an absolute menace. And speaking of a menace, that hat, that man's styling, Jacob. I love it.
Just a fish on his head. He's got a fish on his t-shirt. Just fish everywhere. And he's also playing Vex. But Vex isn't a fish. What am I saying? But yeah, the deck list, I'm not really too familiar with many Vex deck lists because I don't play it myself. However, Blitzcrank is a cool choice to have because not every single deck plays it. And we see the one of Blitzcrank, which totally turned the game on its head. So that one Blitzcrank was a play that decided it for me, I think, because it de-ramped Bugcat, had them use the punch first, and then afterwards having the charm into that as well was absolutely crazy. So that was a very, very impactful one-of card. And also the Edge of Night being hidden. Not many players also play that. And I think that's kind of cool because if you have a deck that has a lot of one-of cards, right, then your opponent just might not know that's a thing. They're like, oh, that's going to be a back-off. That might be a Zonya's or whatever. They're playing green-purple. There's no way in hell I'm attacking, and I think it's an Edge of Night when I'm playing as a Vex. So
no shot.
Those little cards, I think, are pretty good to have. And then on the other side, we have Bugcat, a player from Nottingham, one of our local shops. And his deck list is for the mid-range Yi. He runs a one of Alpha Strike. He also has two backs off, one challenge, which I think is extremely good in this matchup because you can go and assassinate the Vex anytime from your base, which is super nice and powerful. And then your favorite, 3 Rengar Trophy Hunters. All right, we're going to be starting game 2 now, getting back into it. So Ojama Boy took the first game. So I think the obvious choice in terms of deciding who's going to go first is probably that the Master Yi player will choose to do that, right? You want to go first nearly every single time in Riftbound, even if you're playing a deck such as Misfortune Aurora, where you have ramp. You always want to go first, even if you don't have a turn 1 play, because in the end it will give you a little bit of a tempo advantage, which is very nice. So here we have our mulligan happening. Players deciding what to get rid of, and Ojama Boy, we see a Tiana Crown Guard in their hand, which doesn't allow your opponent to score any points on other battlefields as long as that's available.
Yeah, that tempo is going to be a big thing for Bugcat. But when we were taking a look at the deck list, I'm scared for Bugcat. Master Yi decks, especially the OG Yi, they rely heavily on spells, the discipline, the challenges, the sabotages. But Ojama Boy, if he doesn't tap into his side deck, get this, if he leaves his deck alone, he has 7 spell counters in his deck. Wind walls, defies, and not so fast. That's insane, but already to a hot start. Lonely Poro is gonna jump on amateur recital, and Bugcat, he's gonna get on the board for the first point.
Yeah, so right now the tempo lead going over to Bugcat because you go first, you get a 2-drop, you do usually get that, and with Master Yi, it's very nice because if you get the 2-drop, you walk in. Lonely Poro is perfect because when it dies, you get a card back into your hand, so it's basically there for free. With the Master Yi effect, you get +2, so another 2-drop is very unlikely to kill it unless your opponent decides to use any other spells in order to help it, which in this case didn't happen. And then you could just simply play your Master Yi and then use and abuse the hunt feature, give it ganking and deflect later on, and have a nice little 4-drop. But the turn from Ojama Boy was a little bit explosive as well. The Vex Apathetic coming out from the champion zone, and a hidden card, so de-ramping themselves a little bit, putting themselves on a little bit of a back foot. The hold happening. We're deciding on the trigger of the recital. Do you want to send yourself back to base? And do we want to try and attempt to break the hold? Because that hold is going to provide a lot of value. You get to throw an extra card every turn. Crazy.
Yeah, and that's gonna be terrifying. Vex is gonna go back to base, but I don't know if you saw Ojama Boy's hand. He had a Ari Alluring in there. I thought I saw a Blitzcrank as well, and if he's able to set up that little wombo combo, that's gonna be terrifying. But right now, both players currently talking it out.
Yeah, and I'm also
Not
wondering
sure.
what was the case, because potentially Ojama Boy maybe forgot that he could use Star Spring to bounce Vex back into the
Yeah.
base, so maybe he attempted to move him back, but I'm not sure exactly. So I think we're just... Let's see, what is going on here?
He's gonna let him stay.
I think I know what is happening. So Bugcat was deciding which unit to move, right? And obviously you can choose to move a enemy opponent because the battlefield says move a unit. So the Overzealous fan being sent back to the base, which then allows Bugcat to walk in with the Master Yi and potentially bait the use of that hidden card or threaten to kill the Vex. And only one energy being up, that's potentially a defy.
Oh, you gotta defy that. You have to defy that.
Yeah,
He has
unless...
one rune up and cannot allow Vex to die. There is a Zonia's Hourglass in hand, but currently flipped. It's going to be an Edge of Night. Let's go.
Yeah, so
Plus 2 might, making Vex a 6.
Yeah, 6v6, and Bugcat, you can see him laughing, right? As I was talking about it, you play the one-off cards, and you're like, who the hell is going to play Edge of Night? And that card is going to provide some value, right? Because I talked about it earlier, that Lonely Poro that's sitting up there is 4 might when defending alone. So now that Overzealous fan can equip the Edge of Night and then just simply walk in and be able to trade with the Poro. I'm not saying it's a good decision, but it's a possibility. So having an equipment is pretty nice. However, you do kind of got to de-ramp yourself in order to do that.
Yeah, big time. So the question is, okay, Overzealous fan can go over to the battlefield right now, Star Spring. Do you attach an Edge of Night to him? No, you're going to try to get another unit on board as well. And I'm not sure who is going to be just yet, but Ojama getting yet another point, and this is going to be very scary for him if he's not able to set up a good line of defense within the next 2 rounds. That could spell an early defeat.
And we do see an Ari Alluring coming out there, which is
There it
very
is.
strong. And there is a pretty cool combo that you can do that we saw in Ojama Boy's hand. So when I hold, you score 1 point. So essentially, you're scoring 2 points every turn for holding. And for a hold deck, this is very powerful. And right now, the Master Yi only has a Lonely Poro in base, so breaking that hold will be pretty difficult. And then we see another card coming in face down. Now, a little thing that we saw in Ojama's hand, there was a Tiana Crown Guard. Tiana Crown Guard. If you put that on a battlefield with the Ari, your opponent cannot score on the other battlefield, and you get 2 points a turn. That is an insane combo that is very, very hard to beat.
All right, moving Ari back to base. All right, so there is a defined hand. You say that you saw Tiana Crown Guard. That's going to be dangerous. I say you got to send Lonely Poro back to the base, but there is an existential dread face down. The question is, he's going to play it from his hand. There you go. Stunning Lonely Poro, keeping the battlefield in
existential
control.
dread was in hand the whole time because that card can't be hidden. I think it's a back off that's hidden.
Oh, yeah. My
back off that's hidden.
bad. So many stuns in this deck, man. You got to love it.
And then, challenge coming out as an answer. But the problem is with existential dread, right? So it stuns an attacking enemy unit, right? And a stunned unit doesn't deal combat damage this turn. However, challenge doesn't do combat damage, I don't think, because it's just a card effect that says choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit. They deal damage equal to the mites to each other. So that is not classified as combat damage as far as I'm aware. So this interaction works fairly well. And then the Zonia happening and going back to the base. So a little bit of a misplay here, because if the Zonia is to go back to the base, it has to be reacted to the challenge. So then the overzealous fan would go back to the base. So that Zhonya technically should have disappeared from the board and not existed right now. But that's just a little bit of a misplay, or maybe just familiarity with playing that card.
An unfamiliar situation.
Unfamiliar situation. Yeah. I can't use my words today. Too many words.
No, it's okay. I said you could put an existential dread face down, so I got it worse than you, buddy. So the question is, are we going to go head on with the Lonely Poro, or are we going to secure battlefield dominance the safe way? Ari's going to go ahead with the equipment attachment, and Discipline is going to get popped for Lonely Poro, sending him to 6, but a Defy is going to go, and there's yet another one. Double counters on the board. Absolutely beautiful play. Thank God for the Zhonya's Hourglass. But take a look at the rune management on the side of Ojama Boy. He's sitting at 3. Bugcat, on the other hand, he's balling. He has a whole ton. Things have flipped around so much between the two games that we've seen.
Yeah, then Sabotage coming out as well. There's only 2 cards in hand. You definitely want to get rid of the Existential Dread, and there is no way Ojama Boy can play the Tiana Crown Guard for at least another 3 turns. Looking into Ojama Boy's hand was the Existential Dread and the Tiana Crown Guard. Moving on from there, what's going to be the play for Bugcat? So, holding the battlefield up at the top. Do we want to play a unit? Yeah, we're showing the trash as well to Ojama Boy to see what could be the answer. Because having so many runes up, you could straight up just react with a Rengar, right? Jump in with a Rengar, use a Discipline on it. Could go crazy, but
that would hurt my feelings if that happened to me.
That would hurt, but that sadly is not the option that is in the hand. So the turn being passed, and we're 5 points against the Free, I believe. Is it 5 against Free? Yeah, I think so. Did he not score his point going in with the Ari? Okay, yeah, it is 5 against Free. Yeah. He just forgot to add it. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, good sportsmanship from Bugcat, because in a tournament at this level, you could simply say to your opponent once they passed, sorry, you didn't score your point, so you didn't get it, you missed it, but being friendly and a good atmosphere in the store.
We have good sportsmanship, man.
Yeah, good sportsmanship.
There you go. I was playing a guy once and I forgot a point, and he was like, bro, get a point. I'm like, why did you tell me I'm winning? You gotta love it. Ojama Boy this time around, card shuffling on his end as well. Finally got a good amount of runes up as he gives it a good count. The question is he gonna capture with Ari and put out the Tiana? I think that is one of the best plays he can possibly do right now. No units in Bugcat's base, so he can catch up to the score in no time. And I believe that's exactly what the play is going to be.
Yeah, and Bugcat is smiling because he knows exactly what is coming, because he did have the hand knowledge, right? He saw that Tiana was there, so he must have a play around it. And we do see a punch first, right? So the Tiana Crown Guard is a total of 4 might. The Ari is 4 plus 2, so that's 6. That's 10 might on the battlefield. So the Poro, with a punch first, walking in, is 7 might, right? And Ojama Boy gave himself a point. Should he have a point there? Yes, he should. Yes.
Is that 2 punch first? Oh my God.
Is that 2 punch first? Oh, that's crazy.
2 punch first. And he's going to slap it down.
Yeah.
If that face down card is a stun, oh my God. But he does have a repulse in hand as well.
Yeah, the repulse will be hit, so it's going to be crazy. Oh, yeah. They're just talking about how many runes were available. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, just double punch first. That's just doomed. Absolutely doomed.
That is an expensive play, and it has to pay off.
Okay.
Emperor's Divide.
And, yeah, Defy. GG. Okay. So, Ojama Boy losing that game, so the win comes in for Bugcat. He's showing his hand and his trash. So many answers available. Okay, so sorry for the small cut in the video, everybody. We have a little bit of a, how can I call it? My recording basically crashed while we were going. So
Fun happened.
There was a little bit of a time cut, but that's okay. It happens. So don't worry. Everything is as normal. So currently we're sideboarding into game number 3, deciding what we want to take, and then we only have one battlefield left and available to choose for the next game. So we know it's going to be Star Spring for Bugcat and then Sigil of the Storm for the Vex, which is quite a bad battlefield because you de-ramp yourself. So Vex, knowing she's going to go first because she won the first match, that's quite an advantage because the Master Yi player will have to go conquer that. So it's going to suck for them. But yeah.
Yeah. But this has been one hell of a matchup so far, Jacob. The first game, Ojama Boy was in complete control, sending out the Vex, dominating the battlefields, and getting the decisive win. But the second game was a totally different tale, man. Man, I'm telling you, when it came to Bugcat, the way he was able to just aggress and the game-winning blow coming from 2 first punch, that was insane. But now we're jumping into the final and last game of this series right here. Wuju Blazeman versus Vex Gloomist.
Yeah,
there
Vex
we go.
Gloomist. So
Vex Gloomist. Yeah.
we still see Bugcat finishing his sideboard a little bit. So he's about to shuffle his deck, and then we're basically getting started. So we jumped in a little early, but that's perfectly okay. We'll get to see these players professionally shuffle. And yeah, I hate shuffling like this. That's like the worst. It's just so tedious.
The one thing, yeah, it takes so long. The one thing I really want to see in this matchup for Bugcat is whenever it seems that he sends out Master Yi from the champion unit spot, it seems like Master Yi always becomes a 1-for-1 type deal. He never stays on the board long enough to really have too much of an impact. If he's able to utilize the spells and his buffs to keep him just alive and stronger, I think that he can do such a better job, but it's going to be up to what Ojama Boy has in his hand to counter all that. So this is going to be really fun.
Yeah, and now both players are done. We can see Ojama Boy shuffling Bugcat's deck, and then Bugcat splitting Ojama Boy's deck. So we should be ready to start. And yeah, 4 cards in the mulligan. Let's see what comes in. Fist bump first.
Let's go.
Do I see a Sona? I see a Sona. Yeah, Sona being kept, other 2 cards being mulliganed. And then Bugcat has the good old and trustworthy Lonely Poro in hand. And I think I see a Rengar there as well. So, keeping the hand. Keeping the hand.
Oh, definitely. Ojama Boy did pull a charm from his mulligan, which is extremely valuable, especially in this matchup. But Sigil of the Storm, I'm telling you, Jacob, I hate that battlefield. The fact that I see it right now is making my blood boil, but that's going to be a costly battlefield to take. If you're able to hold it, it could turn into a good thing for you. But Vex is coming out immediately.
Okay, so we talked about how that being the negative battlefield, right? So Vex will want to get the 2-drop and then walk in, hold the other battlefield. Now, if I'm correct and there is a Rengar in hand, the entire play just got ruined because he has 5 green runes. If he had 1 orange rune, he could have defended that with a Rengar jumping in and then potentially forcing out so many cards from Ojama Boy in order to allow that conquer to happen, which is crazy. So the fact that we didn't get that 1 orange rune, crazy. And yeah, Charm coming in. Bugcat's just looking there in disbelief. If he had that 1 extra rune, that Rengar could have just straight up jumped in. That is so sad.
The biggest difference maker. By the way, shout out to Riot. The whole ambush mechanic in this game is beautiful. I am a Rengar main, so just throwing units at a battlefield, so valuable, man. So valuable. And it can't get countered because it's not a spell. So you're literally throwing bodies at people. The Defy is going to get countered, and like DJ Khaled said, another one. Double counters on the board, and Nami is eventually going to go back to base.
And just establishing that hold is so powerful. Walking in with the Vex. I still feel... to be fair, the Vex missed the 2-drop, and Bugcat missed the rune. So I guess we're on even playing grounds here, but we can't dwell on the past. So we just have to move on, and by moving on, we're just going to have Vex establish that hold. Yeah?
Jacob, look at Ojama's hand. He has a discipline, a back off, and a blitz.
Oh, no.
If he's able to keep Vex alive for just 1 more round, this is going to be so deadly.
And the Sona as well, which is crazy. Readying 4 runes at the end of every turn is mad. So I think he's deciding right now. What do you want to do? Do I want to play the Sona right now, or do I just want to hide a card? But he does decide to hide a card, which is, as we know, the back off.
Yes, sir. I say just send him Blitzcrank and go crazy, man, but he just
Yeah.
didn't have the runes for it. So hopefully next round we're able to see that. And that's going to keep constant pressure on Bugcat as Bugcat sitting in both units to attack Vex.
So 5 might
So
against a 4 might, right? The back off can
yeah,
send, well, stun one of them. So they
he has
can't
a
overcome this
discipline.
battlefield. Yeah, he does have the discipline, you're right, yeah. Okay, what's going to happen here? Yeah, discipline on the Vex, so giving it +2.
Oh, but there's so many runes on the side of Bugcat. The answers are there. Discipline's going to be popped on his side as well.
So yeah, the Lonely Poro or the Nami is going to be hit, and then we're going to react with a back off to send it back to, well, stun it. So it'll be,
Of course.
yeah. Okay, so what's going to happen here for the resolution of this? So the Lonely Poro with 4 might is stunned currently, so it cannot deal combat damage this turn. The Nami is 3 might, and the Vex is 6 might. So what that means is one of the units would definitely die. However, Vex will keep control of the battlefield. But another on guard coming in. The Nami is now a total of 5 might.
4. Just 1 because
Oh
only
yeah,
Pearl is
you're
along
right.
there with her.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so only 4.
Evening the odds against Vex.
Ah, crazy. I think we're doing a little bit of a rewind potentially because of the draw of the discipline. Okay, yeah. So yeah, they're saying they cannot go back that far because of that. So everything's carrying on as normal. Was a bit of a misplay from Bugcat. Just unlucky, and I think this misplay might potentially cost him the game because once Vex is established and you've used all of your spells that you have and your units just die, it's kind of GG, I think. So kind of rough.
Pretty much.
But yeah, this being a high-level tournament, we can't really go back and, react to cards after we gain more information, right? So just, it is what it is.
Still laying his cars on the middle of the playmat. That's just so gangster. That's presence. I love it. So is he wondering who he's going to kill?
Yeah,
It's
so,
going to be
yeah,
Nami,
he kills
of
the
course.
Nami.
Yeah.
Yeah, kills Nami. Lonely Poro bounces back to the base. Turn being passed. Quite a lot of D-ramp from Ojama Boy as well, what we saw previously in the last game. So it could kind of affect him. But getting all the extra value from holding is very nice.
You Blitzcrank now. You Blitzcrank now. There's only one unit on the opposing board. You throw that bad boy down, bring him in, and get that kill.
Yeah, that Blitzcrank will be insane. And even if there was an answer of like a Rengar, which I still think he has in his hand, right? Or maybe I've just been making it up.
He doesn't have the runes.
Yeah, he doesn't have the runes.
Yet.
But even if he did, right? Imagine, even if he did, the Vex stuns it. So, because
I forgot.
Yeah, so...
I forgot, yeah.
Vex is like the biggest counterplay to Ambush. Like, Ambush doesn't exist when Vex is on the board, and getting rid of Vex is very hard.
Do it.
Ah, no, the Sona.
Sona's coming out.
Yeah, Sona. So...
Big play.
I guess he doesn't feel a threat from Bugcat, right? Because it's only a Lonely Poro.
Right.
He does have some information what's in his hand. He knows he has another Zhonya's, right? So Sona allows Ojama Boy to ready his runes, and he has so many cards in his hand. There could be so many answers, disciplines, everything. It's just going to be rough. And having the point advantage already, yeah, it's not looking good. Scuttle Crab being played to draw another card. I think that was a Defy. That's not exactly what you're looking for. But potentially going in there, trying to on-guard the Poro, so it's a 4 might, potentially to kill the Vex or to kill the Sona. And let's see.
You have to try to take out the Vex right now so you can bring out the Rengar in a later turn. But the Dread is back, stunning Lonely Poro, but Repulse, great counter.
Yeah, so...
one of my favorite orange cards this set. I love it.
It does end up happening. So now... If Bugcat passes and then Ojama Boy passes, then combat resolution will happen. So then Bugcat will get the choice of killing one of those units because it's total of 4 might. So Sona does end up dying. You kind of want to get rid of the 4 runes being ready at the end of every single turn. That's just way too strong.
Yeah.
And then tapping out completely, playing the Master Yi on the board. And you said the Blitzcrank is there in the hand, which is just going to ruin his day.
Do it.
Going to ruin his day.
Do it. The first time I had Blitzcrank played against me, I didn't even know that card existed. I was new to the game. and it was just so oppressive. I couldn't breathe. But I feel like at this point in time, with runes fully exhausted on the side of Bugcat, you just have to do it. You have to bully the board at this point in time. You don't have to worry about acceleration. You don't have to worry about an ambush, and you just have to get it done.
I think that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what we're
Bring out the
seeing.
boy.
Are we
Bring out
seeing
the
it?
boy. For
Yeah,
those of
we
you that
are.
are new to the game, Blitzcrank, he's just like the character in League of Legends. Well, he is the same. He will pull you into that battlefield, and he is a tank. 5 might is a whole lot.
And
He's going to
also
go ahead
the
and get that
effective
kill
Star
as
Spring,
well.
right? Effective Star Spring. When you play a unit
Oh.
there, you can move a unit back to base. So the Vex, which was already ready at the beginning of the turn, is going to be moved back. And then Ojama Boy is asking, how many runes do you have and how many cards do you have in your hand? So he can decide if he wants to go to Sigil of the Storm. Also looking through the trash to see what potential answers could be there for next turn. So you kind of want to eliminate any possibilities. We see a Discipline, a Define, and On Guard, so it's kind of going to be unlikely that he could have those cards in his hand, but who knows. So it's
I'd do it.
all the
I'd go
deciding
to
factor to
Sigil.
walk in. Yeah, yeah. Because then you're
I'd
3
go to
points
Sigil
ahead, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is he going to pass or is he going to go? I mean, there is no threat unless there was like another double
None
punch
at
first
all.
or a punch first for the Scuttle Crab, right? But then it's like whatever.
Oh, he has some more runes. You gotta. With no more runes on the board, I would play it safe and put Vex right behind Blitzcrank.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. You do not want to risk it.
And also this
Imagine them.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that this is also untimed, right? Because we're in the playoffs. So there is no actual timer. The timer you see at the top is just how long the game has been going on. But there is no actual time limit to how long this game can last. Because Top Cut in Riftbound is always untimed. So players can take their sweet time making their decisions. And Bugcat is just, laughing a little bit because he knows that he's cooked. Like you're behind on tempo in like every aspect of the game. You have the runes, but acceleration doesn't exist for you because of the Vex just being available. So I feel like you have to, yeah, like you said, going back to the Star Spring and
Yeah.
just holding it, defending it.
No acceleration there. Unit removal isn't going to be there on the side of Bugcat. So the question is, what exactly do you do? Whatever unit you put out on the board, he's just going to be pulled in by Blitzcrank. So
Hmm.
this is a very, very uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, but
Unless you have a not so fast.
well, yeah, true. But Bugcat still just always laughing,
Oh,
walking in to conquer with the Scuttle Crab, and because of Sigil of the Storm, you're going to de-ramp yourself, which isn't fun. So I guess it was kind of smart from Ojama Boy, right? You just straight up
yeah.
de-ramp, and also with Blitzcrank's ability, when I hold, return me to my owner's hand. So if Bugcat decides to reinforce Sigil of the Storm by playing more units, you can simply replay the Blitzcrank, pull somebody in because you'll have enough runes, and then you don't have to really worry about much, right? Unless it could be a punch first or whatever. But there's plenty of different options that Ojama Boy has, and I am worried for Bugcat again. I don't think it's looking good for him. I don't think it's looking
It's
good.
looking ugly. I hope Bugcat has an answer. I want this to go down the wire right now, but Ojama has set one hell of a setup. This is the RE special. And imagine if Sona was still in the mix. You would get all of your runes. But moving on, Bugcat, all runes currently up, and he's going to put a Lonely Poro on Sigil of the Storm. That's not really helping his case for breaking the other battlefield, but it will secure him another point at the end of the round if Blitzcrank does pull one of those units in.
Yeah, and the hidden card most likely being Zonya's. They're just changing the point counter a little bit as well. So it's yeah, there you go. Yeah, 2 points to 4. Yeah, they accidentally moved the counter. So yeah, 2 points to 4 is the correct score. They're also writing it down on the piece of paper on the side. And then Bugcat is also moving his cards above the hidden card just so their effects can be displayed a little bit more easily so his opponent can see what cards there are on the battlefield. So nice way to represent what cards actually exist there. The Vex Legend being tapped again. 2 draws. And
3 not so fast.
is that 3? Yeah, wait. That is 3 not so fast in hand. Wow.
I told you he had 7 counters in his
Oh
deck. That
my
is
God.
dangerous.
I mean, Sona and Overzealous fan coming out. You ready?
Oh.
You ready 4 runes at the end of the turn, absolutely crazy. Just keep holding and holding and holding. And the Master Yi player has all of his units on Sigil of the Storm, right? So you have to move back to base, then you have to wait a turn, and then you can attack. Acceleration isn't really possible, so I'm just slowing it down. And yeah, I definitely saw a Rengar on the hand, which is literally useless against the Vex. So it's just going to be a slow game now. It's just going to be literally holding one battlefield for Ojama Boy because he can. And I think this is going to be another mistake from Bugcat because he is going to try and play. Oh, okay.
What?
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Was there a reason for that?
I think because he needs. I don't know.
No,
He could have just.
there's no. He burned his Zonias for no reason.
Oh, it was on
Was
his.
he trying to get rid
Did that happen on his
of
opponent's
Overzealous?
turn? I don't know. I think maybe he did it on his opponent's turn in order to allow himself to have a ready unit that is able to attack. So. Yeah.
Okay.
And then yeah, he
Makes
reacted
sense,
with the
smart
Zonya,
play.
so now he can just walk in and he forces the Overzealous fan to straight up, be used.
You have to try to get the break somehow, but at the cost of Rengar being sent back to base. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna be yet another point for Ojama Boy, and don't forget he still has a Blitzcrank.
Yeah, so straight up going to be 3 to 5. Blitz will just simply just walk back in. Damn. What an impressive game style. Like, it's crazy.
Right. Sacrificing Blitzcrank and, nobody else because Rengar only has 6 might. That's value. That's so much value. These Vex decks are so strong, man. It's Ari on steroids.
Yeah, and also, like, even casting and talking about this game, it's like, what do you even talk about at this point? We're literally just like, we see the same cards in the hand. We have a back half. We have like 3 not so fast. We have a Blitzcrank that's just being played and played over again. And then Bugcat can't really do anything. He's just got a Scuttle Crab in base. And his hand's just totally useless right now. Like, what do you even talk about?
He has an overzealous fan still.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to use Blitzcrank.
Wait, does he have one in his hand? Oh my god. Oh, and Shadow as well.
Oh, Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow is also a big game changer because you can literally just tap 1 energy and 1 power to stun somebody, and then, like you said, the next Overzealous fan coming out, that's even more oppressive. So now you have to deal with 2 abilities. Wow. Okay.
Not only that, you can't ambush anymore. Valmaul comes out to play.
So Valmaul on the Sigil of the Storm, I'm wondering why the choice for that was. Maybe to, I guess, protect that battlefield somehow. I don't know. Huh.
There's no threat to the battlefield on the side of Ojama, though. Ojama's whole gameplay now is just to hold and win.
I think potentially the reason why we saw the Vile more be played as an ambush is because of the effect when I hold draw 1. So potentially the ambush effect happening there, so you can play a reaction. So he can, he needs options. So he's fishing for something because he knows his hand is weak. And looking at the facial reactions, the options aren't there. Like, what can you do? You just throw in the Scuttle Crab, look at your opponent's hand, and let's see his reaction.
Oh boy. Oh boy, you saw his face?
Crazy.
Ari Alluring is coming out next round, and it's GG's, my boy.
Oh my god. It's not looking good for him.
Options.
It's really not looking good for him.
Look, Ojama's feeling himself now. He's laughing. He's talking to people on the side. He knows that his setup right now is just magnificent, man. I love it.
Yeah, honestly, it's just GG, I think. It's just going to be delaying the inevitable, moving all the units back to the base. Next turn, Ojama Boy goes to 6 points, and then 7, conquering the other battlefield if he decides to do that, but I don't think he will. And then,
I don't think he needs to worry about Sigil. I think at this point in time, you see the hand, you see the Ari, you see the Bliss in the setup. You bring all of your units back to base, and you need to have one huge push, man. Because someone's going to have to get sent back by Overzealous. That's going to be Lonely Poro. Someone's going to have to get stunned by Shadow, and then you send the rest
So do you know what I would do here? I would straight up play Blitzcrank, bring in the strongest unit, then I would stun it in order to kill it, as it doesn't deal any damage to me. And then next turn, Bugcat is with 1 less unit. And then at the end of your turn, Sona gives you 4 runes anyway. I think that's probably going to be the strongest play.
Oh, Ari.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Ari coming out for 5. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Or Ari is also a potential play because you still have the Shadow, right? And you still have the Overzealous Fan, so you kind of guarantee that you probably will win the next turn.
1,000,000%.
Because I think he's on 6 points now, right? Yeah, he's on 6 points.
Yeah.
So you're just simply holding to 8 if he can hold.
But Cat, you got a hill to climb, buddy. The question is, do you have the answers right now? Tasty Folk is in the fray. Valmaul is waiting, ready to go in for the attack. And Rengar, I just don't think this is enough.
And I think he's doing a potential take back because he wants to play a different unit to... Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so he changed his
he's gonna
mind.
end the
Instead of
game here.
playing the Ari, he decided to play the Blitzcrank in order to pull the Lonely Poro in, and then trigger the effect of Star Spring to move a unit back to the base, so then he can try and conquer Sigil of the Storm to get to 7, to then force the Master Yi player in order to be able to have to double conquer next turn. So I think they're talking about it and discussing it right now. And yeah, okay, so that did happen. And one note as well, if you do play a unit, but no information has been gained, so for example, playing the Ari, there was no window to react to that Ari being played, therefore there was no information gained from either player, so you can do that sort of take back, so if you can call a judge, that also is allowed to happen, even at a high OPL level. As far as I'm aware, because that was the ruling that was like in Lille when I was there, as long as no information has been revealed, you can play a different card, but it depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah, this is looking unwinnable by the second. You do have a punch first in hand, which could become valuable, but exactly how much? Sabotage is gonna go to the grave, and we already know what Ojama's hand looks like. And he has a Valmaul of his own.
Which is also nuts, right? Because if Bugcat does walk in with Valmore, Tasty Favoric, and Rengar, right? The Valmore can be bounced back with the Overzealous Fan. The Shadow can tap to stun one of the other cards, and then you just cannot get through it, which is just rough. I think they're just discussing their thought process of what they were thinking of doing, as they're just talking about like the potential plays.
That could have been done.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like
now.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they just called it a GG and now just talking about the potential plays, or if they're still kind of deciding stuff. But I don't think it's over
Oh no,
yet.
they're still going.
Okay, I think they're still going.
They're still going. Yeah, Ojama, he put the cards down, hands under his chin. He's waiting. It's gonna be the victory pose.
So Tasty Faithfolk, when he dies, he has a death knell effect where you channel 2 runes exhausted and draw 1. So
you send Tasty back to base.
I mean,
Rengar comes in. Rengar is a 1-on-1 with Blitz, and then you stun Valmaul. I think that's the win.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, yeah, you don't want to let your opponent have the draw, right? So potentially send them back if there is like another Rengar in hand or whatever, because he does have a lot of runes, or even let's say another Valmore in the hand. That's going to be useless. So yeah, I think what you're thinking is right. You walk in with the Tasty, bounce it back with the Overzealous Fan.
Yeah, I say you send in. I mean, will it matter? You send in Rengar next. You save Valmaul for last, right?
I think
because that way you can secure the kill on Blitz.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think they're discussing something right now, potentially as well, with somebody about the order of the use of cards, with the Overzealous Fan not being triggered to do the defense.
He kept him there.
Yeah, so he kept him there, and then a punch first coming in for the Tasty Faithfolk. So Tasty Faithfolk is a total of 11 might right now, and we know that it's only not so fast in the hand of Ojama Boy, right? So Ojama Boy still has the ability to use Shadow, action speed, to stun the Faithfolk, to still send him back to the base, which probably would be a good decision.
That's the play.
So that will probably happen. Yeah, so he's going to trigger Shadow, stun Tasty Faithfolk, bouncing him back to the base, and then we still have that A layer of protection available. So yeah, I'm not really understanding.
This is frustrating.
Yeah, this is quite a. I'm trying to think what's actually happening because I'm just seeing pointing at a lot of cards and not much of things actually being done.
He's counting might right now to figure out his play.
Okay, yeah.
I think he knows what needs to be done, though.
Yeah, you
stun
definitely
with
have to
Shadow.
stun this. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
There you
it's
go.
as expected. Yeah, stun with Shadow, send it back to base. And then you just keep the overzealous fan for the Valmore, basically.
1,000,000%. If Blitzcrank dies, he dies. Listen, it's been an honor, Captain, but you're gonna have to take one for the team at this point. And then he's just gonna waltz into a win. When it comes to Ojama Boy's turn, if he still at least has one unit on the board, you spawn another unit there, bring him back to base, and just double conquer. That'll be it.
And how much might is that? 5, 9, 3, plus 4. Yeah, I mean, if the Valmore comes in, yeah, you have to keep the overzealous fan for this, 100%. So if Bugcat doesn't have like a discipline or another on guard or another punch first, all you can do with the Rengar is kill the Blitzcrank, but then the overzealous fan is still there, and then when the Valmore walks in, you just kill overzealous fan to send Valmore back to base, and then there's no more plays from Bugcat available. Pass over to Ojama's turn, and then you get 2 points for holding. Actually, no, you don't get 2 points for holding. You get 1 because, yeah, I forgot he doesn't have an Ari there. But you can just simply play a unit and then just conquer Sigil of the Storm. So essentially, if you don't get this battlefield now, you straight up lose the game. But I genuinely don't think it's, like, physically possible.
Yeah, Valmore comes in. The most he could do kill Blitzcrank and Shadow, but that's still going to be a GG.
Okay,
I don't see any other answers.
So the Rengar was allowed to go into the battlefield, and then it got killed by the... Well, Overzealous fan got killed to bounce the Rengar back, so now the Valmore is on the board. So things might take
he
a turn.
can't die.
Yeah, so with Valmore, enemy units here with less might than me don't deal combat damage, so he's able to clear out a bunch.
No way.
But he's just literally going to pass the turn, and it's just lost, right? So, unlucky.
Well, yeah, unless he has something I'm not aware of.
No, there's nothing.
Oh, such a good try.
You just play a unit, which is a Valmore. You bounce the thing back to base, and then you just conquer the other battlefield, and you just win.
Yeah, you moonwalk in the Sigil of the Storm and just take your victory, pal.
And yeah, you get your 8th point, and it's a GG victory for Ojama Boy. That game was longer than I expected it to be. It didn't need to be that long, but that's the nature of having,
Vex deck, man. That takes a long time.
It's the nature of having 2 hold decks, right? You're playing Master Yi who holds against Vex who holds, and realistically, whoever gets on a battlefield first normally wins the game, and then that Blitzcrank coming in as a surprise, having impact in 2 games already, which is nuts. And I think that Blitzcrank has been like a deciding factor both times. So thank you so much for joining me, Veli. Hopefully, we'll see you for another round if you're down to cast some more with us. And for everybody watching, thank you so much, and have a good one.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Ojama Boy's hat.
Shout out to Ojama Boy's hat.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Have a good one.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.